Good day everyone, this is your Farmer Coach B reporting for duty. As promised, I'm here to share with you some tips on propagating our favorite herb, rosemary. So rosemary is a native of the Mediterranean, but this plant is grown all over the world for culinary purposes. It is fragrant, and it lends its distinct delicious flavor to most poultry, fish, and meat dishes. But not only that, because it's gorgeous, landscape designers have been adding rosemary plants as accents in their designs. Rosemary plants grow to about 2 to 3 feet, and given ideal conditions, they can grow to as high as 5 feet. Here in the Philippines, we grow them in pots because we need to be able to move them when rainy season sets in. Rosemary plants dislike too much water, and the potting media in which they're planted to needs to dry out between waterings. They can be propagated in many ways, one of which is via seeds. I've tried growing a rosemary plant from seeds, but failed. So what I'm going to share with you today is an asexual propagation technique, which is division. Okay, so let us now proceed to the tutorial. You will need the following materials for today's activity. Of course, you need a mother plant to divide. You will also be needing potting media. I like using our own potting mix, a video of which will be posted to this channel soon. You will also need a hand shovel. For when you want to add the potting media to your pots, but I like using bare hands when I do that. If you want to wear protective gloves for your hands, do that. We might need something sharp to cut the root balls, so have a cutting tool on hand for when you need them. Pots, okay, so you need pots. Your pots, the sizes of which depends on the sizes of the divided plants. Usually for rosemary, the recommended material is terracotta, but I like using plastic pots because they're lighter and they're easier to move around with. Once the plants have already been planted with these pots. Of course, after we have repotted the divided plants, we need a watering can to supply water to the new plants. Okay? And if you don't want your shirt soiled while repotting, you might need an apron. Okay? So let's do this. Okay, let's proceed. So what we're going to do today is we're going to multiply a mother plant via root division. So this used to be one mother plant planted to one pot. So the first thing we did was to take the root ball out of the pot. Okay, so we then proceeded to dividing the mother plants into separate new plants for potting. So this one was easy to remove because it had a separate root system. These two used to be one plant. So what we did was we used a sharp cutting tool to separate the two to come up with two new plants. Okay, so after the mother plant has been divided, the next step is to prepare a pot like this one and fill about half of it with potting media. Okay, so now that we have filled one tub with the potting media, we can do the same for the other two since we have 3 new plants. Okay, so now that this pot has almost half of it filled with potting media, we will now proceed to potting the new plants. So I'm very excited. Okay, so this is one new plant. With still some of the soil intact. Okay, so you're going to find the center. To find the center of the new pot, make sure that the plant is right smack in the middle with enough space for new growth. especially um, root growth. Okay, so once you have centered the new plant, you may begin filling up the rest of the pot with your potting media. Like I said earlier, I like using my bare hands when planting. So, okay, so once you have filled the pot with the green, you can give it a good shake so that the potting media settle. Press the potting soil a bit. Make sure that there are no air pockets inside. Again, give it a little shake, and that's it. This is one potted new plant. Okay, so you can do the next two. Is we have again a pot with potting media. We may take the next divided plant. Okay. Make sure that the plant is centered and proceed with filling the soil, or filling the pot with potting soil. Okay, while adding more potting mix to your pot, support your plant. Make sure that it stays in the middle. Make sure that it's centered. Okay. So from time to time, press. Make sure that there are no air pockets inside the pot. Okay. Again, fill with soil or potting media to begin. Shake. Press. Then shake again. So now two new potted rosemary. Okay, so let's work on a third one. Again, we have a pot half filled with potting media, and I'll take the third plant, the third divided plant. Okay, center again. Find the center. Add potting media to the brim. Press, give it a little shake. Okay, add more potting media to the brim, press, and then give it a good shake. Okay, so there you go. From one potted mother plant, we now have 3 new plants. Shake. Okay, and we have 1, 2, 3 new rosemary plants. Okay? So now that we're done potting our new plants, the next thing that we need to do is to water it. Do we need to do that right away? Yes, because one, we want to make sure that the potting media settles in its new container. And number 2, we want to make sure that there are no air pockets inside any of these containers. When adding water or watering your newly potted plants, make sure that the spouts of your watering cans are directed at the soil and not at the leaves. Rosemary plants do not exactly like getting their leaves too wet. Actually, they're very sensitive to it. Okay, so just add water like this until most of the surface have been moistened. Okay, so allow the water to settle and check if you need to add more potting media to your containers. So make sure that there's enough potting media to fill each of the pots. Now that we're done potting these beauties, let's talk about some reminders. Placement. Place your newly potted plants in an area where they receive indirect sunlight at least for the next 2 weeks. That's to allow them to recover from transplant shock. In terms of watering, make sure that their potting media dries out completely between waterings. Rosemary plants aren't heavy feeders, but if you think that they need to be fed, they love fish amino acid or fish emulsion concentrate. So feed them that at least once every month. So we will talk about rosemary plants more in our next sessions. For now, this is your farmer coach P. Thanking you for watching this tutorial. I'll see you again soon. God bless you all.